So, hey Dave, how's it going? Good, good, good. I am just uh I'm just getting everything finalized. Sorry, we're running a little bit late today. I didn't expect the movie that I was watching to be that long. Thought it was a For an animated movie, it was very long. So I was like, I was it's called The Luck. Um, also on Apple TV Plus. Um, and it's just about somebody who has bad luck, and then they go into the land of luck to help their. It's a kind of a hard movie to describe, but it was good. It was good. It's just long. Okay, so we are now here. Um, everything is good. Everything is going. Um, so for those who don't know, 40-year-old vegan um was an ex slaughterhouse worker. He became vegan. Um, I'm not exactly sure for how long, but this is why we're here, and we're gonna get more questions answered. Um, thanks for coming, Dave, and thanks for allowing me to interview. Like it's a real honor. Like you're awesome, dude. I got a lot of people in on my YouTube, so I think it will be fine as long as we keep going. Like I'm less concerned with the yeah, Dave, if you want to like Dave, if you, I don't know if you could send announcements to everybody, um, that would be kind. But yeah, I'll just get started where we're at. So how many years were you working at the slaughterhouse, and like at what age were you at when you started working in that field? Right. No, you're. I can hear you just fine.
Pictures and stuff like that, and we would determine whether or not. Well, it wasn't me determining it. I would just put it all together and put it on a desk of lawyers and the head of our unit, our animal transportation unit. So to go back, my first few days were in, I think it was December '99 or November '99 when I first walked into one of these facilities. The place was called Maple Lodge Farms, and so they're a massive chicken processing facility, slaughterhouse. So they kill, I believe, when I left, upwards up to 500,000 chickens a day, and so that would be over pretty close to 200 birds a minute, 3 birds per second. And prior, when I started working, there used to be 3 inspectors per line. When I left, there was no requirement to have an online inspector unless if they were exporting, which they did. And that was one of the requirements by another country, but not necessarily Canada. So you have the line speeds increasing from when I started 60 birds per minute to almost, 3 times, 4 times that. And then you had less inspectors, and also certain like diseases and stuff were considered at one point not able to be going out to the public. After their assessments, they're saying that they can trim these diseases out, like cancers and tumors, and still allowing the main body part to go through. So there's a lot of things that had happened during my time. So I'll just go back to my first day, walking into that place. The first thing you notice is the smell. So like when you walk from the parking lot just to the main entrance, the smell is just abhorrent. It kind of gets in your skin, in your mouth, and your nose, your eyes,
The
and it kind
skin, like like the scent, like will like stick to you. Um,
yeah,
that sounds
yeah,
terrible. I
yeah.
can
So even after a shower and stuff, like you would still. I don't know if it was just because you smelt it so often that it was constantly there.
memory
Um,
glands or something.
yeah, yeah. And so, yeah, the first thing you notice is that, and then, they take you around the other parts before they take you to the kill floor, which, you see the body parts, the, I guess, innards, you would call them, the guts, the intestines, and stuff like that. That's what you would inspect. And um, then it looked like I was brought down to the live receiving, and it's something that always sticks with me is just walking through that first door where this like mountain of heat just hits you. It's because you're just walking into this area that has a lot of like I guess, ambient air, or not ambient air, just a lot of flowing air, which has like dust and feathers and feces and all this crap just flying everywhere, and it's really hot, and it just kind of hits you in the face as you walk through the door, and it's all metal, so you have to be very careful where you're walking. And I just remember as I was walking down these steps, and I veered left, I could see the slaughterhouse truck, and I it looked like it would appear to be like a face or a head that was like frozen to the crate, and then I noticed that that wasn't the only chicken's head that was frozen to a crate. It was a number of them, and so like right away, I'm kind of like my heart's beating. I'm in shock and can't really believe what I'm seeing. I mean,
Right.
and so I carry on, and I see like as I'm walking down, you hear this thumping noise, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, and it's the guys chucking the crates off the truck onto a conveyor belt. And like these crates are really heavy, so the easiest way for them to do that is to literally kind of throw them and aim them at the conveyor belt. Well, all the chickens are rattling around, after they've had this you know incredibly long journey, the hours of transportation. Then I don't even know if there were laws when I first started that mattered to anybody as far as distance where these birds were transported from. And so I just remember, seeing men pick up these birds, putting them upside down and putting their feet on shackles. And it appeared to be like, which I found out later, it's pretty often, is their legs are so brittle and frail that sometimes their legs will just rip right off. And yeah, I mean, I know it sounds graphic, but it's true. And so after like kind of witnessing that and kind of taking it in, like, of course, I think anybody's instinct would be like, what the hell am I doing here?
Right.
Um, and but my grandfather had got me the job. Basically, he worked through his connections. So I had to man up. This has to be done. Somebody's got to do it. We have to eat animals. These things are playing in my head. And so, I froze. I kind of just froze, and stuck with it. I didn't. I didn't think much beyond that day. Like, as time went on, I saw like things that nobody should really ever have to see: piles of dead bodies everywhere. Sometimes the chickens would come in, or the hens, and they'd be frozen to death. Thousands of them. Sometimes they'd have heart attacks due to the heat. So
Sorry, it sounds like there's problems with people hearing.
okay.
Unowned stage instance. What's going on? Oh, I think that we're in the wrong. I think that's okay. You hear us? We're good.
But we're not on the stage yet. What does that mean? There's that.
Hold on. Are we on the wrong one? It should be this one. Um. Uh. Okay. Does everyone hear? We good? Are we all here?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you just fine. Okay. Sorry. Um.
Yeah, numbers.
Um. Yeah. What were you saying?
Yeah, so I think I was just going over my first few days when I started in the slaughterhouse. So for those coming in, like I'm an ex-slaughterhouse inspector. I work for the Canadian Food Inspection Agency for about 15 years, and I'm just sharing some of my background. So the first, few days were obviously quite intense, and carrying on from that, I think like in some ways I thought for some reason that I was doing right by the animals by trying to, like, for example, these guys that would throw the crates off the truck would do it one person at a time, where I would ask, or a few of us inspectors said it has to be two people taking these crates off and setting them on the conveyor belt rather than throwing them. So, like a real welfarist mindset, right? And two, one of the things we did, and I got in trouble like many times just reporting normal things that I thought fell within my privy as an inspector, because you're given a lot of power when you are. And so, like, one example comes to mind, is, I noticed on the kill floor that all these hens were coming in with massive bruising, and like it doesn't take like a scientist to know that whoever was at that farm, that specific farm, is literally beating the shit out of these hens.
Right.
And so I bring it to the vet. The vet says, "Yeah, I see the bruising," but that's it. Like nothing's done about it. Nobody follows up. Nobody goes to the farm. Nobody says anything. And so one of the things I did is I just took notes about all the bruising. I CC'd the entire like almost agency, quote unquote, on purpose or not on purpose, and I got reprimanded for it. But just by doing that, they started implementing fines for these companies. I'm not saying that was the only incident or I was the only one, but like a lot of inspectors somewhat cared, like with their welfarist mindset. Like I didn't like I didn't know what veganism was at the time. I just thought
Mhm.
this has to be done, and we got to do it. So
Um,
um,
yeah, that's
yeah, go ahead.
insane. That sounds like an insane start to like your whole career of being in a slaughterhouse. Um with that being said, at the time that you were working there, like I guess I can skip that question. It seems like you're definitely affected by the work and everything. And it seems like at what time did you start to see like animals as individuals? Like was it like instant like when you started going there, or was it just like more like this is a part of the job and this has to be done?
Yeah, it's. I think it's probably a bit of both, right? Because like when I saw that hen's face glued to the truck, I just thought like, what? Like, why couldn't this be done in a better way, right?
Mhm.
This humane way, this miracle way that people are talking about, and so with every time I would see something that was like more worse than the other or similar to the other, like I would obviously would affect me. I'd go home at night. I mean, I did at points turn to drugs and alcohol. I mean, that was like
Oh.
fairly common for me. I would go to the bar and get blackout drunk and stuff like that. Um, and so, yeah, I mean, it did. I did see them as individuals
Mhm.
always. I just think because of the scale of it, you have to somewhat turn yourself off of any emotions, because
Right.
not only that, as an inspector, my role is to enforce the regulations, and like you have this battle between management. If you stop a line, you have foremen like screaming at you. because their jobs are on the line. And then you see employees, like one example, I'll get, like, this is one I've given before, is I remember I'm just walking down, it's sort of just another day, and all of a sudden I see this hen like flying in the air, like this employee had thrown the hen, and I'm like, what? Like, I just lost it on a guy. What the fuck are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Why are you throwing the hen? And he showed me that the hen had scratched him, and I'm
Oh,
like, what do you think the hen is gonna do? Of course the hen's gonna fight back. What? Like, and you're throwing them? Like, what the? Like, like, you're not supposed to do that as an inspector, I guess, but I was enraged by even seeing that. And
hmm.
it's so weird, right? Because they're still going to be slaughtered and killed. And then he got on his knees and he's like, please, please don't say anything. Please, please. He was begging me, like, he was grabbing my pants, like, please, please, don't say anything, because, like, had I said anything, this guy's getting fired.
Right. He
He's
would have
going to
been
be
canned for
probably
sure.
deported. And, like, what's his family going to think of him and all this? And, like, these were things that happened, like, I was presented with these types of situations. I forgot to mention too, like, when I first started, I became insanely sick. Like, I contracted something called Campylobacter, similar to Salmonella and E. coli, and basically, um, high fever. I fainted. Um, I had a massive pain in my back, and I was basically in the washroom going up both ends. I couldn't even go to the hospital because I was worried I was going to shit my pants.
Jeez.
And so, um, yeah, it ended up a few months later. I developed blood clots in my lungs,
Hmm.
and so I was off work for, I think it was almost 2 years, because I had to get injections in my stomach, heparin or whatever, and also I was on these like, they call them anticoagulants, warfarin and blood thinners. I guess that's what the term, some people call it that. It's not really that, but and I had to get blood work in my arms every day. It was crazy. So, and for me, like, I'm able to, like, go to the hospital, get that checked out, get antibiotics, and, like, get out of that, like, sort of like, I still have a cyst in my spine from that time. And um I suffered for, like, to this day there's even a bit of pain back there, but I'm lucky because I was able to get the help I sort of needed, whereas
Sure.
a lot of the workers aren't. um some won't say anything because they're worried about missing
Right.
time at work, or if you complain too much, you might not continue
Yeah,
the
they
contract.
can fire you for any reason.
Hmm. Yeah, and so repeated health issues. I mean, it's very common. Employee turnover rate's high there, and I wasn't necessarily like as inspectors, you get breaks, you get time off the line, um, uh, and the employees, they don't, like, they use them as literally machines. So at some point, I developed respiratory problems, like, really severe. My inhaler wouldn't work. I had to go get maskings almost after every shift. I'm asking, like, meaning I had to get air pumped into me basically at the hospital. And so at some point I had to leave that environment. I couldn't work in slaughterhouses anymore.
Hmm.
And that's when I was moved out to things like fish inspection and exports and imports and processing facilities, until I moved into animal health. And that's when I really started to, like, break down mentally. But before I get to that, I just recalled a story of one of the workers there. Her name's Maria, and I noticed that she had just come back from her second carpal tunnel surgery, had one on each wrist, and her shoulder was falling apart, really, because she was always like grabbing it and massaging it. And I said, Maria, you got to get out of here. This job's killing you. And what she said kind of still sticks with me is like, she's like, I can't go to another job. I don't speak English. It doesn't matter about me. It only matters about my family. And, I'm just thinking like, so this woman, feels like trapped. She can't do anything else, but she's trying to like basically sacrifice her life for her family, and she just doesn't know that she can get out or anything like that. But yeah, so I think because I was outside of the slaughterhouse for a number of years, I just buried everything that happened. But I was in a relationship at the time when I went to work in this place called Animal Health, which I mentioned earlier. So again, they do investigations into like things that happen on farm, whistleblowing. If a certain percentage of animals comes in dead at a slaughterhouse, they do an investigation. It's not an individual; it has to be a percentage. And so, my job was to review the inspector notes, read through them, make sure that they had everything that they would need in order to go to court, photographs and video. And so it was at that time, like, I started to get these crazy flashbacks because I would go into the job and I would see like photos of, all these animals in bins and some of the horrific things farmers would do to the animals, like absolutely.
So it wasn't just the slaughterhouse that did the terrible things, like farmers also did fucked up shit to the animals, like before they would come to you.
Yeah, I would argue like some of these farmers, well, I can't say like all slaughterhouse workers are, escaping that like accountability, but you would know who the crazies were inside the slaughterhouses. It was like they had these weird eyes, like these psychopathic. It was like they loved doing their job. They were in their element. I remember going to a cow slaughterhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Ironically, it used to be a prison, and they used to put the prisoners into the slaughterhouse to work off or make money or whatever. But this guy, I just remember every time I go to that plant, I was scared. I was actually literally scared. This guy had a machete, blood all over him. His eyes, he was just like,
you're kind of scratching out.
I am?
Yeah, just a little bit. You sound good now though. It was like right at the interesting part too. Like what the?
Yeah, maybe meant to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy, he just had these fucking eyes, man. Like you could just tell he was in his element. Like he really got off on what he was doing.
Right, like he felt like he belonged there.
Yeah, like it was his territory, and like he got off on it. And so when I worked in animal health and I would see some of these files come across my table, you would see like there's like common threads, right? Like so these would be the local farms. Like people talk about local, and it irks me because if people could only see the filing cabinets full of these local fucking farms, that even farmers are whistleblowing on these people because they know that they're doing awful things. And sometimes they don't even say anything. They'll hear like, I know a farmer that he was too scared to say anything to the other farmer because of any repercussions. And he's the only other farmer in the same area. But he'd hear noises at night, and it was often a place I thought to go do something about, but afterwards, but this person's petrified of this person.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're it's like I hear most of what you're saying, but then I'll have like a slight like churn of like cutting off. I
Okay.
heard most of what you're saying. It's just like having like a cut off every so often. I don't know what's going on.
Sure. I don't know what I would have to do.
It sounds good now. Let's just try to like maybe just like pause and then like let's see if it works after a while. You can just give it a second.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but yeah, what were
So
you saying?
anyways, yeah. Well, as I was saying, like a lot of people have these ideas about these local farms, and I'm like these local farms are some of the worst places I've seen. Um, you know, they don't have the same. Um, well, the way inspection works is these farmers are really just able to police themselves. Um, if they're caught doing something, what'll happen is they'll have to take retraining, or they'll have to, um, you know, promise that they're going to do better the next time. Like it's like somebody's going in to watch these places. People are literally just able to do whatever the hell they want in these places. Um, and some of the worst things I've ever seen were happening in those places. And it started to get to me. I started to have flashbacks, night terrors, um, a few instances where, like, even I ended up on the floor in my room, and my partner at the time was like just looking at me like I was fucking nuts. Um, yeah, and like having like literally scrapes on my knees, like because I took out a chunk of skin because I somehow ended up on the floor screaming. Um, and and like throughout the years, like that's what I have. Like it's I see a garbage bin, I see these advertisements, I see a truck, I hear a noise. I get several flashbacks a day. Um, I'm kind of more used to it now. I've been able to seek therapy and have all
Sure.
that. Very lucky to do so. Some people will never get that opportunity. And now I understand like some techniques to help me kind of bridge that. And what my therapist said was um, one of the best things I could do is just speak about my experience.
Hmm.
So it's just that's what I'll do. I'll just keep on talking about what's happening to me. And so at some point, I was telling my partner, and she knew I was struggling. I said I can't. Like I didn't tell her what I was seeing,
Hmm.
just because I didn't want to put that trauma on anybody. Um, and like I just said, I don't want to eat animals or be a part of it anymore. And so she recommended we try veg, and I did that, and I didn't die.
This kind of
Um,
leads to one of my questions.
yeah.
Did you have like veganism in mind while you were working in the slaughterhouse? Like, it was veganism
No, I
ever in?
never. No, I didn't even know it was a term. I didn't even know what veganism was.
Oh,
I vaguely heard of vegetarian, but I
okay,
was still not sold on it. Like I didn't.
right.
I I thought you had like I really thought you had to eat animal flesh, and I don't know. I had some ideas about vegetarianism as well. I think the only vegetarians I knew were some from India, and
Hmm.
um, like worked where I was working. And two of the guys, they were really thin, and I thought, okay, maybe that was a reason why. Like there was no rhyme or reason why I was thinking the way it was, but um, it was just at that point I was like, I don't want to. Like it disgusted me to even think about eating animal products.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very odd how often the whole environment doesn't allow freedom for rationality. Like we can't rationalize that veganism has been a thing for thousands of years. Veganism has been a thing for thousands of years without the word, and the word has existed for decades now. Um, and yet, if people were so unhealthy off of it, it would have never existed because everyone would have been dead, and obviously we would have just been eating both animals and plants. Um, it always kind of just wraps my brain of like how much rationalization you get once you become a vegan. Um,
Yeah, I I find myself like I'm very lucky that I had that like support in that moment. And although I probably would have figured it out at some point, I think it was just like a real breaking point for me. I had a lot of bad thoughts in my head at that time too. Um, I won't get into some of those, but it was a real like a real low time for me. I'll just put it that way. And yeah, like I mean, within a month, I was eating plant based, and you feel like obviously for I think it was for years I felt ashamed. I never told anybody. I wouldn't even tell people that I was eating plant based. I just wanted to live on my own island and get the fuck out of here. Um,
right.
Whatever which way I could. Just because I I can't believe how naive I was and how dumb I was to actually think that this was somehow fucking normal to
Yeah.
execute all these animals and put them through sheer terror and hell and back.
It's kind of like a nervous laugh because I know exactly what you're talking about. Like it's dealing
Like
with the dealing with the pressures of like the fucking outside world. I don't know how it's the outside world. It's the world that we live in. But yeah, no. Dealing with other like the life that we used to live, like it doesn't leave once we become vegan, and so like having to deal with that while we're making this change is crazy.
yeah, it is wild because at some point you have to look at it logically and think, well, I mean, who's fighting for these beings if not like just the regular person, like I'm somebody who's worked inside of it, I'm going to have to get off my ass and say something about this and speak up about it.
Hmm.
Although it took me a little bit of time, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It just is what it is. Um, I mean, I think the best piece of advice I had was maybe 3 years ago because I was in a dark place about 3 4 years ago. Even while I was doing activism because I've been doing it for I think strong since 2018, but um, like my therapist had said, today all those animals in the past, like they aren't suffering, they aren't going through that. They've already gone through it. There's
Yeah.
nothing you can do about it. They aren't in pain or anything like that. So that kind of helped me turn the page a bit. But yeah, I mean,
Right.
back to that point, like previously, like um, yeah, it was shocking because not only did I see like health improvements for myself, I know that's anecdotal, whatever, but like my childhood asthma went away. All of a sudden, I'm feeling clear headed, and it's like this weight got off my shoulders, and I'm like,
Yeah.
holy shit, like, is this real? Like, this can't be real. Like, you feel ashamed and dumb at the same time as you do, um, like angry about the whole idea.
Sure. Sure. Um. So, back to the questions. Were you required to conceal what you did while you were working in the slaughterhouse? Like, did you have to? Were you allowed to talk about it to like the outside, or was it like required that you keep like things hush hush?
I kind of look back and I don't really like I signed a contract when I first started.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been in 1999-ish, around there, or 1997. I can't remember. It was around there. And no, I don't remember signing my life away to say that I can't say anything. I know there was something to say that, after so many years, like you can't disclose like personal information. I don't think it was more so like what you witnessed or anything. I think just like I can't talk about, say, X farmer or dox them or something like
Okay,
that.
okay. But you
Yeah.
could, as long like you could get into description of like what you were doing, like on a daily basis, like to the animals and stuff like that. That was fine. But like as long as you're not like doxing anybody or revealing private information, right?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, like I didn't get into that practice though while I was working.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but thereafter I just, at some point you just don't give a shit. And I think even when I was like my last few weeks there, I just didn't really, I didn't give a shit at all. Like, and I still don't. It's like, this agency, whatever you want to call it, that I worked for, is just a front. It's just a front for animal agriculture to do whatever the fuck they want to animals, to
Mm-hmm.
profit off them, to confine them, torture them, and put them through hell on earth just so people can think that they have to eat them or something like that.
Yeah. Um. So, how often do you think like accidents and injuries happen there? You mentioned the like chicken and stuff like that, but like how often did like cows or pigs and stuff like that cause injuries to people, or like how often did like people slip over blood and like hurt themselves in that way?
Yeah, I would say almost every worker at some point is going to have a pretty bad injury happen to them, whether it's they're contracting E. coli, which will affect their nervous system, could fuck them up for life. Whether someone's going to be like stabbing themselves with a knife or cutting off a limb or hitting their helmet on a metal shackle, or the slips and falls, people breaking their hands or wrists from the falls. Almost weekly you would see somebody go down from something. Eye injuries, hearing. Um,
I could imagine,
there's
especially with the like the pig squealing and stuff like that, or the machines. Yeah, I imagine
yeah,
it's crazy loud.
yeah. I mean, ammonia leaks we have quite often, um, and just whatever you're inhaling, chemicals are all around. To supposedly clean the areas. So yeah, it was quite often, and the animals obviously um, like this whole idea of stunning. For me, the way it looks is that stunning is just to make sure that the animals are incapacitated enough that a worker won't injure themselves.
Right.
So it's like a pig is put into a gas chamber and they faint because they're in excruciating pain. Um, of course, they're a lot easier to hang up on a hook and decapitate them than a pig that's running around.
Right.
Um, I've seen a cow once get uh, escape from the knockbox. I think it was the side of their head that got shot, but they were still okay enough to run around before, like, they
Did he scratch out for anybody? I think he just that whole thing just scratched out. If you could just go back like 20 seconds and
Sure,
yeah,
sure.
side of the head got shot, was able to uh
Escape.
okay.
Yeah, and so they kind of ran and slipped over the blood in the troughs, and then the workers got out of the way. And you know what I think about often when I saw that was that the cow avoided hitting the humans. Like the cow could have just bowled over the humans in front of them, but the cow was just trying to escape. That just shows
Oh
the
geez.
level of, of how we feel towards animals and how they feel towards us, you know?
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
In my mind
And
it should have fucking bulldozed through those people.
well, yeah, but that's the thing. Like they don't think like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And the other thing, Axel, I was gonna say, like the one thing that haunts me every single day, all the time, and I think about it every single day is they look to us as like stewards. They kind of like look up with their eyes and they look at us like, okay, that person's gonna take care of me. You know, they're gonna, okay, they got my best interest. Maybe they're walking me through this bad area, or maybe they hit a friend, but it almost feels like they think that we're watching out for them. And
Mm.
then farmers go throw them onto a death truck. You know, um, these workers bring them down to um, a what do they call them? Like a makeshift barn, so that they can go up into the like the knock boxes or into towards the gas chamber, the chutes.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's crazy because like they don't look at us like that. Humans just for some reason do. They kind of look at animals as whatever. But I understand it's a conditioning thing. It's just something I constantly think about. Um,
Right.
like where your dog will kind of just look at you, and maybe they're hungry or whatever, but or even if like something had happened, maybe you stubbed your toe or something. They'll look at you
They'll
with
worry about
like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And so
wish we had the same consideration.
exactly. Yeah, and so like as I mentioned, like I saw a lot of things I was able to change, and then I think I just started watching a few documentaries like Forks Over Knives, and I was like, okay, well, I can eat healthy and live fine. I don't have to be a part of this. Oh,
Hmm.
what a novel fucking idea. And then, yeah, I started to like continue like with like I flashback and drinking and doing things that I probably will never talk about. And yeah, I just eventually found out about animal rights, and um, I remember thinking that one of the best things I could do is they had this Rib Fest event going on, and there was a vegan food truck going to be at this Rib Fest, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to do something. I'm going to go to that vegan truck and buy a plant-based burger at this Rib Fest. That'll show them.
Hmm.
And yeah, I found a vigil that was happening in my area. I went to the vigil. I didn't tell anybody where I used to work or anything because I thought something bad would happen to me.
Hmm.
But I found the people to be really great. And the second vigil, I told them where I'd been and what had happened and how I'd been a part of that. And yeah, quite literally haven't stopped since. I think I listened to a couple of speeches, one by someone named Amy Serrano. She's out of Canada.
Hmm.
Um, and she just really kind of helped light a fire under me. And yeah, since 2018 or 19, I've been going nonstop, like most of the people here every day, or some of the people here.
It's crazy. Um, last question, because I know you gotta go in like 4 minutes. Um, uh, did you ever go back to like the slaughterhouse that you were working at after you went vegan?
Yeah.
You did?
So when was it? I think it was 2020. I went. Um, Someone convinced me to go back, and they interviewed me out front. Someone by the name of Michelle Labrosse, um, activist extraordinaire. She convinced me to go out there, and yeah, like it just, I don't know. I feel like I've been away from there so long that I
Have
didn't really
this.
feel much when I was there. I
It,
wish I would have, but
gotcha.
yeah, there wasn't much feeling there. I mean, I explained some of the things I saw like here, and obviously, like there's way more to everything. I mean, I am writing a bit of it into possibly a book, possibly a documentary. We'll see if I ever find the time. But yeah, I mean, I guess the thing that I try to impress upon people is like if they were in my shoes. And I know most people would say, well, I would never, work in one of those places.
Right.
You know, by circumstance, I did. I mean, I followed my family, and my whole entire family worked in it. And I think sometimes with outreach, it can be a tool as well. Letting people know a little bit about that side of things. I'm not
Hmm.
saying that should be the main thing because that's always like we're always valuing human centric ideas over animals. We shouldn't be doing that.
Right.
But I think sometimes people will connect to that human element sometimes, and maybe they'll not push as much.
Right. Like if they were in that situation, they might understand understand a little bit more. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
um, thank you.
I closed the side chat
Yeah,
a little while ago.
I ignored that whole thing.
Yeah,
I wasn't gonna distract myself today. This was a no multitasking interview today.
yeah,
I was I was I was minimizing it as much as possible. Thank you so much, Dave. This kind of blows my mind. I I get a nervous laugh to like hope, so that's why I'm like smiley. Um, but absolutely insane stuff, and I didn't even think to like
you know.
really about the slaughterhouse stuff side of things. I've always kind of was more around farm side of things more than slaughterhouse side of things.
Yeah, it's
So
absolutely mental that people are in there with knives and like even like how they process some body parts. Like it's absolutely mental to
mhm.
put modern I call them modern day slaves into these places and to do that shit. It's crazy.
Yeah, I just call them slaves too. Yeah, that's all they are. Um, they're not anything but slaves. Uh,
Mhm.
except they're the worst kind of slaves. They're bred into slavery. You know, uh, they never knew freedom. Which is arguably kind of better because at least they didn't get ripped away from their freedom. But still, I would argue that that's even worse. Never knowing freedom at all. Um, But thank you so much, and I would love to have another interview with you if you're ever up for it. I have so many questions. um, if that is
Yeah, I absolutely, Axel. And if anybody else wants to as well, like I'm open. I'm an open book. I think that's part of my own healing process is just to share, and hopefully that somehow does something, to change this wave, this tidal wave that we need to have happen. Yeah, and if maybe some of the people aren't aware, like I go out to slaughterhouses and I'll live stream there. There's something called Project Livestream. We go out and we put cameras on these places, and they always seem to be uncomfortable, and it's pretty obvious why. Yeah, I would encourage anybody out there that if you've taken from this conversation or if you have any questions, feel free, and also, try to get involved.
Do you
Getting
have
people involved.
do you have time for like audience questions to come up, or do you gotta go?
I have a hard stop at 4:15. I would say I
Okay.
can get ready by then. Yeah.
Okay. So if anybody wants to come up and ask just a couple of questions, we only have time for a couple. Just raise your hand. Okay. As long as it's productive questions, no trolley questions, feel free.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, pretty good. I was wondering, so how long were you an inspector? I only got here for the tail end of the event.
15 and a half years. I work for the Canadian Food Inspection Agency.
15 and a half years. So when did the moral opposition to this sort of thing set in? I also wasn't there for that part if you described it, so my apologies.
Yeah, no problem. I worked. Sorry, my entire family worked in this industry, so I sort of just followed suit. I saw a lot of things that kind of haunted me over the years. I worked in investigations. I've documented probably hundreds, if not more, non-compliances, like things that would happen within the confines of the law. That eventually, ultimately, some of them went to court. Most didn't even get a fine out of that. I think in 2011, we actually finally had a company get a fine for a bunch of chickens that died due to inclement weather. So I always felt a little bit wrong about what was happening, but I was just thought, it has to be done. That was instilled into me. And then sort of near the end of my time,
I gotta stop this. Sorry, I didn't see the chat. I didn't realize it was the.
Hey, wait, no. I'm asking perfectly legitimate questions. No trolling, no goofing around. This is just how long was he an inspector?
Okay.
Yeah, 15 and a half years, 99.
Yeah, 15 and a half years. Okay.
Yeah.
The reason I asked that is when I received the answer of 15 and a half years, it sort of runs counter to the typical, how would I say, the ramping up of squeamishness versus the ramping down of squeamishness. Usually when you engage in something that you're maybe borderline thinking is ethically questionable or morally questionable, the longer you engage in it, the less squeamish you get, right? So if you think of like Breaking Bad, Walter White was the biggest chump possible at the beginning of the show, and by the end, he was a hardened criminal. So, with that in mind, how did you get more squeamish over time rather than less? It's just a very atypical response. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, I mean, I agree with you on that. Generally speaking, it'll be the first time. Like when I talk to ex-workers and stuff, they remember vividly the first few times they've worked in this industry and from the things that they've seen. But yeah, through time, generally you can move into apathy and move into psychopathy at some point. I think the breaker for me was the fact that I worked in it, I became ill, I went back, I became ill, and then I was outside of it until I started working. And I was getting to that at the end here. I worked in an investigation unit, animal transportation and animal health. And so that role of mine was just to review the inspector's notes, the limited video that we had, and also photographs. And so as I was reviewing those files, I started to get like severe flashbacks, and that kind of was more the time when I started to see change, and I wanted to change, but I just didn't know how. And luckily I had a good partner at the time as well to help me move away from eating animal products.
Right. So with that in mind, the reason I mentioned the atypical quality of the squeamishness ramping up over time is I'll just give you the best example. My first visit to a slaughterhouse was crazy. I was like, whoa, there's blood everywhere. Now I'm not vegan myself. I'm actually quite opposed to the general movement, but
Oh,
even
well, I'm
I had
sorry.
to admit, like, damn, this is bloody. This is, gruesome, but this is also how we eat. I just see them as food, and
Yeah.
we're the ones that are able to subjugate them and eat them. So we win.
So
It's a
yeah.
winner take all type of proposition.
Well,
But
like you said, I mean, you were bringing up the apathy kind of thing, right? And
yeah,
so, like, there is data out there to show, and there's a video I would encourage you to watch. It's called "What Killing Animals Does to Your Brain." It goes into the psychology of what takes place. So, if you look at neighborhoods surrounding slaughterhouses, violent crime rates increase. So you look at coping mechanisms like PTSD, drug, alcohol addiction, violent crime rates, as I mentioned, including like stuff like injuries, like contracting pathogens, diseases, illnesses from working in these places. So I would encourage you to check that out. With the limited time here, I would like to maybe grab a few more questions. Maybe we can talk another time.
Yeah. Does anybody else have any questions? Just go ahead and raise your hand. Vegan Destroyer, I think he said that he was wanting to move on. And then if nobody else wants to have if nobody else has any questions, we can just move on to debates so Dave can get going.
Yeah, that's great. And I think Vegan Destroyer, it's just because I've got limited time and we could go on for quite a bit. So you got me for just a couple more minutes here, Axel.
Yeah. Yeah, so like even vegans, do vegans have any questions? Do non-vegans have any questions? It's not just limited to the vegans. Does anybody have questions for Dave? What's up, Dister? Hello. Dister.
Just trolling me at this point, isn't he?
Fucking the silence is killing me.
Give me the silent treatment coming on here and give me the silent treatment.
Just comes up here unannounced, doesn't even raise his hand.
Establishes himself in my state.
Okay, well, I guess Dave, since there's no more questions, do you just want to give like a final spiel of why people should go vegan?
Yeah, I think I was like talking about it earlier. I think if anybody, like, I would say almost most people were in my shoes and they saw the things. No, we couldn't hear you. If they saw the things that I did, I mean, like, a lot of farmers will only work on certain farms, or maybe transport truck drivers will only work in certain areas. Like, I've seen it all. I mean, I've been on farms. I've seen the investigations. I worked in slaughterhouses, and I just wish that for a moment people could just try to visualize themselves in that position. The non-vegans, I think the vegans, they get it. And so I think the biggest thing we've got to look at, is it necessary, or is it not? And I think those are two very easy distinctions. it's not necessary, and we can live healthy, fine, thrive, all those things. I mean, I've been vegan for 11 years. Um, it's not rocket science. I mean, again, I've done it. And if a a regular kind of guy like me can figure it out, I think anybody can. So also too, like to the vegans out there, highly urge you to get active, get out there for the animals. And if you guys want to check out my YouTube channel, go and support me over there. Go and subscribe. Hope to put up some more content. Also, I'm on Instagram and stuff like that. And again, if you have any questions, I'm in Discord quite often as well. And I just wanted to say thank you to all the incredible activists out there on this Discord. Wow, you guys are all top tier. I mean, Axel's a little bit of bottom tier, but he's working his way up there. So
Yeah.
I'm
I
in there
don't.
with you, Axel, on bottom tier. So apparently, so
Yeah. No, I'll always be bottom tier, bro. It's something I've accepted.
yeah.
Uh, so if you have time, I know it's like it's a quick question. What
Sure.
Steer was asking is, um, while you were in contact with your workers and stuff like that, the people you were um, like over, did you notice like a progression in their aggression as they were working?
Um, I think like anytime as an inspector you would walk into an area, people would roll out the red carpet. And if you knew they did something wrong or something was going on, just by the way they would react in that situation, it was almost as if you caught a child doing something wrong. They'd have a red face, or they'd kind of be looking at each other and looking around. So very easy to spot that aggression. Not really. I think the younger I was, I had a lot more aggression, and I think that's what's helped me actually even be an activist today, because I had people yelling at me on when I'd stop a line or something like that. These big men, foremans, just screaming at me at the top of their lungs. But I held my ground, and I think over the years they started to look at me with a little bit more respect. And as I got older, that happened less and less, I guess.
Gotcha. All right. That is enough. That is all the time we have for Dave. He needs to get going. So for all the other people, sorry we couldn't get to all your questions. I was running a little late. It took quite a bit of time to get this going. But fantastic interview. Make sure to check it out on my live stream after this. And if you want to look into what happened and stuff like that. The first question, I only got half of your answer because I didn't have my sound on Streamlabs enabled. So that was my bad. All
Good, all good.
I'm just bottom tier, just just being bottom tier. Yes, thank you so much, Dave.
Yeah, no problem. And maybe a teaser for next time. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. um, you have a good one. And then if any vegan wants to come up and have one-on-one debates, I'm free to let that go. Like I got more time.
Okay, cool. See you guys. Thanks so much. And I'll be on later, hopefully, if I don't get in too much trouble.
Okay. Yeah. Does anyone want to come up and have one-on-one debates, or do we want to just call that an event? Or does anybody want some advice when it comes to activism? Because we could do that as well. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to plan the next event. So I do need somebody to I do need one of the mods to run next week's event cuz I will not be here, but that will be a topic for a different time. Mickey, do you have any questions? Janber, uh, Jester, or I can't pronounce that name. Arameo? Arameo? Yeah, no worries. That's what these events are for. I think that was a very productive event. Yeah, no worries. Thank you all for coming. I guess we'll just call that an event. Shorter event this time, but you know, I think that was a pretty solid one. That was a really good interview. And I actually had questions prepared this time. So that was nice. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good one. We're gonna.
That we gonna have the conversation, okay?
No problem.
You agree?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, I
Okay.
agree. I like to see videos. Yeah.
Okay. Give me a sec. By the way, which language is your native tongue?
Cool.
Oscar and Lucas.
Mi Ukraina.
I am Arab. I'm talking Arab, but we are not what I'm not Arabic. But we
Arab,
talking
Arab.
Arab. Yeah. We are Canaanite,
Okay.
like a Phoenician.
Okay. Cool. Join to my stream, please.
Yeah. Oh.
You can see it.
Yeah. We can.
Okay. Cool. So let's start then.
I'm gonna come back to that, and I'm actually so that was really enlightening. I actually thought I knew a lot more about the slaughterhouse industry than I actually did. That there was some things that I didn't realize. There, you know, I've been around like farm industry and stuff like that, but I never really thought of it that way. I think I'm gonna kind of probably call this a stream, and then maybe later I will get back on. I do gotta get some more packing done though. I was gonna stream a little bit longer, but then I thought about it. I do need to get some packing done so I can get going to Virginia. But I will probably stream a little bit later. I think it's probably good to just end the stream where so it's not a totally long stream. But I love you all. And did you guys like the questions? That's one question I have for you guys, other than the polls. You know, like, did you guys like those questions? Did I ask good questions? Also, when the next stream is, I'll probably do a little bit more of the song because I actually finished the song. I got the lyrics completely better, like completely set up. So, yeah. But yeah, let me know if I did good in the. Here, I'll just do a poll. Did I ask good? Cool. I hope I was at like I was trying to think of yeah, those are the questions that I was interested in. And I think I think it was a productive interview regardless. Good. I'm glad you guys were interested in those questions that I was asking. It was I was running a little bit late, but I did have questions prepared this time for this time. So that was nice. I did have some pre-written questions and stuff like that. Some I had to write on the spot, but you know, like I was thinking a little bit more ahead this time rather than just asking questions randomly. So I think it was good. Anyway, I'm gonna drop off. Thank you for tuning in. We're at 150 subs now. Only 50 subs away for me to talk about my tattoos. So let's go. I love you all, unless you're not vegan. And if you're not vegan, you're basic. So go vegan.